afternoon, everyone. Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests. Selamat datang, Bapak Ibu semua. Terima kasih sekali lagi atas kehadirannya pada BNI Investor Daily Summit tahun 2022. Today I have the honor and the distinct pleasure to introduce a very distinguished panel built of the main players in the media industry and the entertainment industry in Indonesia. Allow me to invite all of them up to stage one by one. Pak Hady Wibowo, Mr. Himanshu Shekhar, Mr. Ronald Atmaja, and Ibu Riana. That's true. Agree. Bu Mary, silakan. Can we get another round of applause, please, for our distinguished panel? Allow me to read a short bio written by sometimes us, sometimes the panelists above here, a little bit about their backgrounds. Hady Wibowo is the Chief Executive Officer of Future Creative Network. 6 years ago, he built Future Creative Network, and since then, it has now grown to a cluster of 42 creative companies that combine the strength of more than 1,000 people. Future Creative Network became the world's fastest growing agency in 2018, only a year after it was founded. And it was named the fourth fastest growing large-scale network in the world according to Adweek. Future Creative Network was twice named the Creative Agency of the Year at Citra Pariwara. A round of applause for Pak Ifan. He also likes to use the title Creative Chairman because he thinks it makes it sound a little bit more interesting than CEO. We have also Ibu Riana. Riana is an entrepreneur, an investor, and content creator. After graduating, she made her first $1 million at the age of 26. Wow. I should have learned from her. She is the founder of Riana Group. Mary is also the managing principal of a venture builder named MD Co. Together with David Chokraraharjo and other coaches, Mary helps entrepreneurs build their first $1 million business. Next, we have Mr. Himanshu Shekhar. Himanshu Shekhar is currently CEO of Group M Indonesia, a media practitioner of over 2 decades. He has served in various leadership roles in Group M agencies, Mindshare across India, Indonesia, and Southeast Asian countries. An Indian national, Himanshu came to Indonesia in 2010 to lead Mindshare Unilever team. Subsequently, he was appointed CEO Indonesia in 2011 and CEO Southeast Asia in 2014. Across different roles, he has partnered with global as well as local clients, amongst others, Unilever, Nestle, GSK, Indofood, and Shopee. Round of applause for Himanshu. And last, but certainly not least, in fact, last and probably most important for everyone at this table is Ronald Atmaja. Ronald Atmaja is Corporate Media Director of Mayora Group for 7 years. He has successfully innovated brand performance and pushed it to the top of mind. Mayora Group consistently sharpens a comprehensive balance for creativity, media spending, and brand health performance. Round of applause for Ronald. Before we begin, allow me to give a bit of context for today's session. In the media industry, moving parts happen on a minute and hourly basis. Innovations happen on a monthly to daily basis. Day in, day out, we are faced with new challenges and new opportunities. And only through working with brand owners, media agencies, KOLs, creative agencies, and once in a while, Investor Daily Summits, we're able to meet those challenges and find new ways to support this media ecosystem and engage with our client base and our audience bases. Today, we have a complete ecosystem built of 4 distinguished individuals who will now provide their opening speeches and opening statements. Starting with Himanshu, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, and good afternoon to all of you. It's a very late afternoon, and we were wondering if we are holding you to go outside faster. But I think the theme of this session is very commendable, because as Pa Joko said in the morning, if you see around the world, there's rarely a positive news. But in Indonesia today, we rarely have, uncomfortable news. Even in this case, we have someone launching a TV channel. Just tells you the opportunity is being harnessed at this point in time. But if you see the last 3 years of post-COVID, I'm saying post-COVID, even though we're still in COVID, because we have now an experience of 2.5 years living through. Our life has changed. That is understatement, but I'll try and put this in some form of an order. Digitization, everybody talks about that digitization has accelerated. But what has it done? In my mind, it has fundamentally altered the context. We were thinking about the text once upon a time. You search Google, you write something. Today, we are finding visuals or video or voice in our context everywhere. You have endless videos, right? You can binge watch so many OTTs, multiple OTTs from Indonesia getting launched in the last 2 years alone. So OTT as a phenomena and time spent watching those OTT is very recent, and this is driven by the data access, the pricing of a data, all of that, but it has changed our life dramatically. Second part is visuals. All of us today use our WhatsApp or any messaging app, and we can't live without emojis. We can't live without the stickers. So our expressions are today far more visual than text. And we used to talk about demise of radio, but look at, we're all talking about podcast. Audio has become, new and shining thing today. I know Eric Tahir was here in the afternoon. He has set up a company called Noise on the portions. So our context have undergone a change very rapidly, and it has energized the entire content ecosystem in the country. Now, for a marketer, an advertiser, it's very important that we are used to use or leverage this content opportunity. For that, we need data. Good quality data is the biggest enabler. Now, look at the innovation in the data field, the access in the data field. One can run a simulation today that people sitting in the room, how many of them like, pisang goreng? How many of them like gado-gado? That type of connected data is now possible, which can help us target the different type of consumer, not just, a demographic profile. Third part is each of the transaction. Earlier we used to put an ad, somebody has to go to an ATM to make the payment, and then you make a transaction. Today I go and buy a coffee through, banking app, just scan the logos. It has become so easier. Also today the references are far more important, right? Because booking a villa in Bali or booking an Airbnb or booking a holiday destination, everything is based the reference or the rating scores that they get it. So the consumer journey has become extremely smoother, shorter, and easier. So if you put this context and consumer journey, our life has dramatically changed, and it has opened a lot of opportunity. This also have got one more layer to it, which is in the form of automation. How many of you are today looking at automated dashboards? Room full of marketers. I can say that, 5 years back, we had far more Excel sheet dominated dashboards. Today, you will have automated dashboards from multiple platforms. No platform can come to town today without having a dashboard and can do a meaningful business of any scale. So our life from a creator to marketer, at the same time of media, all have undergone a tremendous change in the last 3 years. And it has unlocked value. It has created businesses. It has created opportunity for everyone, for be a celebrity or be a talent or a new type of agencies, or even for telco and other companies to get into the posts. So I don't think media ever had such a busy or such an opportune moment that we have today. So I couldn't agree more with the context that you put up today. However, every opportunity does come with the challenges, and there are tremendous amount of challenges in harnessing the potential. But if we have potential, we have hope. And with hope, there's the energy, and one can build businesses on back of them. I hope that helps get a perspective on the latest market and media landscape. Thank you.
Thank you. Extremely insightful. Next, I think it's an excellent baseline for the conversation that we're about to have today. A little overview of where one of Indonesia's largest media agencies is seeing the ecosystem evolve towards. Next, perhaps we can have Ibu Mary Riana give her opening statements and her views.
Thank you for the opportunity. Okay, allow me to say hi to the audience here. Okay. Investment Daily Summit. Mana semangat dan suaranya? Wow. Thank you. I need the energy because I think success requires energy, learning requires energy. Okay, so kalau saya bilang Indonesia, semuanya kepalkan tanganku darah dan jawabannya cuma satu, pasti bisa. Gampang? Oke, kita tes dulu ya. Indonesia pasti bisa. Indonesia
pasti bisa.
Thank you. Big round of applause to all of you. Thank you. All right, so allow me to speak in English for today's sessions and also a little bit of Bahasa in between. All right, so well, if you know Mary Riana, probably you know me as a motivational speaker or motivator. But professionally, basically I have 3 main roles. As an entrepreneur, I run education's business. We have events, we have digital learning platform. We also have Mary Riana Learning Centers. Currently we have 11 branches in Jakarta and Surabaya. As a content creator, even until today, I actively creating positive contents that I distributed to all platforms, all media platforms as well as social media. And thank you to all my followers, millions of all who have been watching my video. Thank you so much. All right. And as an investor, right now myself together with my partner, David Cokro Raharjo, we created MDCO. MDCO is a venture builder that focuses in business leadership coaching as well as brand development. We especially help the small, medium enterprises, a very early startup. In Indonesia, it's like UKM. Okay, and we help them how to build their first $1 million company. So it's the first $1 million milestones. That's what we're actually focusing on. Right now we have about 10 startups that is under our portfolio. So when I speak about the evolutions, basically I speak it's not just in terms of media, but I think the evolution actually came across all industries. Okay, and to sum up as an opening, the one that I see the most is right now communication or storytelling is not just doing it vertical, but to be more effectively, it's actually horizontal. Okay, so it's no longer vertical, top down, but it's horizontal. Okay, let me give you some examples. Okay, when we talk about media, long time ago we only know conventional media like TV, newspaper, what else? Radio, right? And then it changed. It evolved from media to digital media. What is an example of digital media? Last time, newspaper became a news portal, right? There's a blog post, and then radio then becomes a podcast, and so on and so forth. But if you can see right now, it has been evolved again. It's no longer media and digital media, but now it becomes, guess what? Social media. And it's totally different. It's a different ball game. Social media. And like I said, if in the past it is vertical, so we get information directly. Where do we get fresh information? Last time was actually from TV. All right? So we get the first information from TV. But nowadays, coba sekarang saya tanya ya, informasi paling cepat sekarang bukan dari TV, seringkali informasi dari lambe turah. Betul atau betul? Dari lambe turah dulu, and then baru abis itu di broadcast di TV. So nowadays, it's no longer from the TV, but actually from the social media platform, the one that in touch with the community, with the people. They actually the one who actually get the first informations, and then that's how we actually get informations too, whether it's right or wrong, but it's still information. So as you can see, it's no longer vertical, but it's horizontal. And it's not just in media. Let me give you another example. In commerce, it's also the same. Last time when we talk about the conventional commerce, we buy things, we go offline. You know, we go to the shop, we get things, and we pay. And then evolutions from commerce become digital commerce, right? Okay, digital commerce. But nowadays, if you can really see, digital commerce, that means e-commerce. Can you give me an example of e-commerce in Indonesia? Tokopedia, right? Tokopedia, Bukalapak. That's how we buy things from those e-commerce platforms. Yeah, Blibli, Lazada, and so on and so forth. But if you notice, the trend right now is no longer e-commerce. If you can see the pattern, the one that I give you example from media, digital media, and then social media, if you can see the pattern, commerce, digital commerce, what is the next thing?
Social.
Social commerce. I'm not sure whether you really realizing it. How many of you nowadays buy things not from Tokopedia, but from TikTok? Am I right? Yeah, from TikTok, from all those platforms that actually is a social media platform. I'm also the one who, I never have any intention of buying things, but somehow when I go on TikTok, then basically it goes to my FYP, then suddenly there's a live, and then it's so interesting, then, you know, so I thought, oh, this is interesting, let me go and test it out. And it works, and you know, they give a very, it's a very fast things, and it's a very smooth transactions as well. So as you can see, so nowadays, a lot of transactions becomes social commerce. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is this. I think if I look at in industry, all across industry, why we need these social things? Because there is still need interactions. People converse. People talk about certain things. There's a conversation, there's two ways. So if, in my opinion, I think the one who have the most conversations will wins. The one who can actually create a connections will wins. And it will happen across industry. The one that I just gave you is from media and commerce. But in education, it's also the same. It's no longer education and digital education, all those platforms, but in future, it becomes social educations. Yeah, so that's my point of view. Thank you.
Untung ada Bu Mary, jam 4 sore karena menyegarkan kita semua ini.
Oh, thank you.
Dan tepat di tengah, Bu.
Tepat di tengah.
Next, I would like to introduce Pak Ivan. Silakan, Pak Ivan, if you can give your opening statements.
Oke, halo. Sorry, bahasa Indonesia lagi.
It's okay.
I'm so glad that you start with bahasa Indonesia. I will speak half-half bahasa Indonesia dan bahasa Inggris kali ya. So I'm Ivan Hady Wibowo. I'm the founder of FCN, Future Creative Network. We are now the largest creative agency in Indonesia. We built the company about 6 years ago. And the topic today is about storytelling, and that is our business since day one. But the funny thing, storytelling at the forum of is in Investment Daily, right? Investor Daily. So FCN also believe in the investment platform as well, and also innovation on the topic of the day. So we do also quite a lot of innovation, investment, and at the back we are doing a lot of storytelling. And to talk about the innovation on the storytelling part, what I believe is that now we are come to the age that's so interesting that storytelling always being disrupted by the medium. The medium been changing rapidly across the time. So at the beginning, storytelling was on the wall, that like the caveman. And then came the technology, become a print, and then soon TV, voice dulu, radio, and then image and voice on TV, and then came digital, where people can interact. So the big question, what's after that, And when we see the future, we need to look at the past history. A lot of people say when radio came out, that print will die, People want to listen to somebody talk, not just read. And when TV came out, they say radio will die because there's an image, they can see it on the screen, And then digital, when they come out, TV will die, digital will take over. And look at now, everything just stay. It just built on top of each other. So in our network, we have a big question on that, what kind of future storytelling that we want to do, and where is our industry is going to be. And there's one particular part that we are really interested into is where the ownership, which is the ownership of the storytelling, is not longer belong to any institution, but it's belong to everybody. That's where we believe it will disrupt the industry in a big way, and also disrupt our industry, where it used to be a big corporation have the voice to tell the stories, but now with the influencers, whereas we all know, no longer a big institution own the microphone to tell the public, but everybody with a handphone, they can tell the stories. They have the freedom. Although there's masih ada banyak regulation, but there are more and more freedom for people to tell story and also take the ownership, to get the so-called the revenue from there as well. So that's where our innovation in our network is going to be, where we want to kind of like own more microphone, and also we want to tell the story in a new era. That's, I think, my opening statement.
Thank you, Pak Ivan. I really like that, because actually there might be some opposition to what Pak Himanshu said and what Pak Ivan said. So maybe we can discuss a little bit more about that. And that's fine. We like debate, right? We'll see who wins. Next, and finally, for our opening statements, please, Pak Ronald. Silakan, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Pak. Yeah. So, hi everyone. My name is Ronald. I'm the media director of Mayora Group. As you know, Mayora Group is a national FMCG company. We are currently operating around, I think by this year, we are operating around 50 brands in Indonesia and maybe around 80 brands globally. So maybe just to give some sharing, we have actually for Mayora, we are not just an Indonesian company, but we have 13 offices and marketing offices globally. So we are on our strive to becoming a global company. And for brand owner like Mayora and many other people, I think the most important thing that we are trying to achieve is the top of mind, the brand awareness top of mind. That is the ultimate goal that we want to achieve from our communication. That's why the word Kreatif and media, this is two very, very important components in our day-to-day life. So our sales, our brand performance, it all have high, how I say, you have high hopes that our brand and that our creative and media will help to achieve this brand awareness and ultimately leading to brand loyalty and brand affinity. So the evolution of the storytelling industry, about the media industry, I think it will go on forever. It will not just stops here, or but I think for us as a marketeers, our biggest challenge is to adapt and to find and to maximize how to best use all these resources that we are so lucky to have because of these people here that have been working hard to set up all the platform, all the creativity, and for us to work together with them to tap in. So the collaboration is becoming more and more important, becoming more and more influential. So we need to keep evolving. We need to keep trying new things, innovating. We need to have clear goals so that all our collaboration will be able to have a good set of KPI and monitoring system so that we know what is the leading factor to our success. All right, thank you.
Thank you, Pak Ronald. So in reality, the four of our jobs is to make Pak Ronald's life easier and to make him successful. Thank you guys so much for your opening statements. I think if I can give a bit of a recap here, Himanshu gave us a framework in which we can look at the changes in the media ecosystem and the content ecosystem and see where it might go and what it might be, right? That framework has been elaborated on by Bu Mary to provide case studies and real-world transitions that we're able to feel and touch in our day-to-day lives with the change from commerce to e-commerce to social commerce, from content to digital content to social content. From Ifan's side, he has seen that as the changes continue to abound, era by era, technological shift by technological shift, he's more of the view that one builds on top of the other. And the question is how, and that the current era is a decentralization of voices and microphones, in your view. And how can you either acquire or collaborate. Collaborate with as many microphones as you can in order to raise a certain point. And from Pa Ronald, who has, of course, global exposure with his brand, has seen that the changes are, the only thing constant is change. And that our jobs here are to make sure that whatever changes happen, we remain relevant, right? So allow me to perhaps pose the first question. In the midst of all the changes that are happening, what has stayed constant? Everyone on this panel and everyone coming here today has continuously asked themselves and continuously sought, tomorrow the media industry will change, tomorrow technology will change. But the players on this panel has been in this industry for decades. So a bit of a curveball, I apologize, this was not in the briefing, but I also didn't hear your opening statements, so I'm gonna have to improvise a little bit. What do you guys have seen not change in media in the last 10 to 20 years, depending on how long you've been active for? Who'd like to answer first?
See, platforms and technology are the means, but what is core is the storytelling. The creativity, the need for creativity was important, is important, and will remain important. And that's why you think about innovation, because innovation, the kernel of innovation is creativity. Creating a media platform, creating a new business, managing a brand, or managing the platform, all of them require, storytelling. And that is very central to what we do every day. Because if you go wrong in the portion, we won't be successful, and in spite of having the best of the platform knowledge.
Thank you. Pak Ivan?
Maybe I want to add on that. Yeah, I agree. I think the only thing that's constant is the storytelling part, right? Since the beginning of time, like what I said at the beginning, people are drawn into stories. Since zaman batu sampai sekarang, when they react to any of technology shift, the medium can change. The way short video, long video, it can change. The format can change, but people still react to the same stories. The love of a mother to son, to the kids, and all that, they will still react the same. On the brand values, from the perspective of the brands, I'm from the advertising background, right? So we do a lot of things for the brand as well. Brand needs to tell the right story to the audience. It might be changed all the time from the day I start my career in advertising until now. The way we say things, very different, but the core of it is still based on a human insight that never changes. I think that's the only thing that's constant. Well, there's a big argument about AI right now. AI can tell stories in the future, but again, AI is a machine learning. Machine learning means that they need to take data from somewhere. The data itself is based on human interaction and human insight, I feel.
Interesting. Wow, that got a round of applause.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, I totally agree. It's the story that everlasting and it will never change. But maybe if I want to add more, right now I think the stories, it has to be authentic, right? It has to be real. And people are drawn into an authentic story rather than a perfect story. So sometimes, sometimes even imperfection can create a long impressions for them. So because that is something that is authentic, that is original. Yeah, so I think that is one thing that stays throughout, the originality of the stories. But now it just depends on how you package it. And when I mentioned about stories, it's not only just in terms of like video or audio, even the pictures also can be a stories. Like last time they have a Pinterest. Even Pinterest also, there's no video, there's no audio, but you can also tell stories through pictures, right? So different medium, but it's still original of the stories, your own stories. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, agree with everyone. Storytelling is the core. For us, I think relevancy is also as important because the change, we need to connect, and having that connection emotionally or sometimes logically, that helps to deliver the message that is intended there. So that never change is how we adapt to the medium and how we best package it and deliver it so that we can again maximize it.
Okay, thank you. So storytelling hasn't changed whatever the platform happens. Now, I think if I may shift the conversation a little bit to Pa Ronald, bringing into 13 cities, 13 countries you said your brand is present in. Perhaps you can give us a bit more of a global perspective of how the Indonesian industry, how Indonesian media or content industry compares to other countries that you have had exposure in. For a bit of a context, Himanshu's slide was content without text, journey without interruption, and outcome without. Himanshu's, the third one was outcome without. Uninterpreted outcome, right? So these are issues that's like some we're starting to see today. Some are the very utmost, far spectrum, right? Where do Indonesia stands according to your views and experiences?
Yeah. So for Indonesia, I think we can say we can be proud of our media landscape. Comparing to the developed nation or let's say the less developed nations, I think what's good about our industry is we are a very flexible country and industry, and we are very innovative. And so what happened is that in Indonesia now we've not just say TV, but also you can access many digital platforms for advertising, for collaboration in terms of product placement or sponsorships. So this become a common thing in Indonesia, and a lot of our viewers here enjoys that format. But unfortunately, not every country provides that, or the accessibility to that level of engagement is very costly. So I think Indonesia, we are quite balanced in terms of the costing wise, in terms of the inventory, in terms of also the potential creativity that is allowed on the screen.
I see, thank you. So allow me to now move to Pa Ifan. Seeing this, the changes that's going on, the ecosystem that you said is quite balanced in Indonesia's market in terms of inventory, pricing, creativity, and so on and so forth. You have acquired 42 companies in the last 2 years.
Yes.
What?
On the past 6 years. In total.
In total. And it's
total.
not an acquisition. It's an
investment.
Okay, so why? What is your investment strategy, and does it have anything to do in line with, the changes and the evolutions that we've seen and discussed in the last few minutes?
Well, in our point of view is that this is linked back to my opening statement, right? The microphone's been so diverse right now. There's so many freedom out there, but the requirements from clients also become more and more. What's the word? It's a bit more complex, like super complex. And we realize as an agency servicing our clients, we cannot be good at all. If we are good at all, we are good at nothing at all. you know. So what our point of view at the times when we start and we see the changes happening, we start to realize we need to collaborate with the expert in the industry. If we want to tackle it all, we'll become nothing. That's where we start to invest in one company and on and on and on until now. And it won't stop until we find that in any other context, in any other discipline, in marketing and communication, being touched, we won't stop until then.
Can you give an example of like the kind of companies that you invest in? What's the framework, so to speak, of your portfolio?
Okay, maybe to
Ini buka dapur gak?
ada bukan dapur tapi it's okay.
Sorry.
So our recent investment is into a meta-human companies. It's called Genesis, and although it's still a very new meta-human, you know, not a lot of people familiar with that. But why we believe that
Can you explain what a meta-human is for our audience and for me, frankly?
a meta-human is in the layman terms is almost like a virtual influencer, an influencer, but it's being handled by a group of team. So it's not the influencer is individual, right? You have your own opinions. You have your own company to handle your account. But this is a team that create a human using data and learning to create a quote unquote a perfect human for a certain segment in the market. And yeah, for us. Does it explain?
Yeah.
Okay.
A bit scary, but that's fine.
Yeah. For us, that's we have a vision on we have belief that the future are moving into that directions. There's a two sides of it. One from the business side of it, from the brand. Let's say a brand is so used to have a mascot, right? Traditionally, but as we know, the market require more interaction, right? But a mascot is just a mascot. They don't have a full holistic feel, you know, like a emotion on it. So the way we see in the future, a brand require a meta-human, a representative of their brand in the form of a human. Yeah. So that's our view, and yeah. What's your question? Is that our latest investment?
Yes.
That's our latest investment.
Bu Mary mau respon tuh kayaknya. Tadi enggak.
It's interesting aja. Sekarang ada apa? Meta influencers, meta human influencers.
Okay. So along the lines of the different changes that's happening in the industry, perhaps Bu Mary, you can discuss a little bit about what are your key communication or storytelling practices, especially as you evolve now to be a venture builder. How have you seen the change in your views regarding storytelling or mass communication through your platforms or through your brand's platforms that you now invest in?
All right, thank you. I think it's the process that matter the most right now. Because if in the past, perhaps we always mentions before and after story, right? Okay, before it was this, now it becomes this. Okay, but now people are interested to know about the process, the journey. So it's like involving them to be part of the journey. Like for example, like instead of normally they just saw me on stage, but nowadays I also share with them the process. Like sometimes I go to the airport and then like behind the scenes and so on and so forth. So that's the things that right now they really appreciate more, and that's how it actually can relate to them.
Why is that? What is so important about the audience knowing about the process of your life or your brands that's involved now?
Because I think when they see the process, they know that it's real, then it's not perfect. And that's how it can relate to them. I think one of the best things, one of the examples why people, maybe nowadays, the youngster, why they watch YouTube more than just TV, for example, right? Of course, BTV, we'll watch more on BTV later, right? Yay, okay, all right. But why?
I'm sorry.
Okay, why? Because in TV, what you see is just so perfect, right? Because there's edit, when it's wrong, then it's edit, then basically what they showcase is more perfect. But why they can relate more on YouTube? Because it's just human. There's, even if they do wrong things, that's the one that actually they can relate, yeah, I think that's how, that is something that is more relevant to nowadays the people. And because they know it is imperfect, they actually can relate, and that's how they can also be part of that, in the making of the process of becoming who we are today. Yeah.
Thank you. So if Ifan has said a little bit about the changes in the technology or the medium, you said a little bit about the change in the consumer consumption habit, what they like to see now more of. Is it behind the scenes, the journey? Perhaps for Pa Himanshu, I'd like you to go back to your original slide and perhaps give us a taste. These three major changes that you see, what is the manifestation of that framework in your view, the next technological change that we're going to experience in our day-to-day lives?
If you can go to chart number 4, there are 4 examples.
Bisa ditayangkan lagi?
Chart 4.
Oh, slide 4 ke slide berikutnya.
Yeah. We talked about those changes. The video is now getting done by robots. First change. In fact, YouTube, you can have entire character, what you call the virtual YouTubers, are now getting created. Fully done by, the machine. Similarly, today, if Ronald wants to wish happy birthday to all his people in 13 countries, it is possible by machine. It has been done in India, where Shah Rukh Khan, who is a movie star, he worked for Cadbury. So the machine recorded his happy birthday. And the machine replaced the name individually. So about 1 million people got a happy birthday directly branded by Shah Rukh Khan. That was impossible in any other technology. Right? So it has now enabled marketers to reach out, to connect in a more authentic manner as well to a very large number of people, which was earlier impossible. Similarly, on art, forget about one is the advertising. Even on art today, you can have a natural language spoken of, and it can create an ad. So, for example, if you can say astronaut on a horse, and the machine will create for you. NVIDIA, which is a chip company, is creating a platform. You all hear about the metaverse. Similarly, I have seen another change where today, if you imagine you want to go and buy something, but I don't know how to explain it. Right? Say I want to buy a yellow color glass or lens, but very difficult to explain. So if you take up a yellow on Google search, put a tab, automatically the text and a visual can give you a very different type of recommendations. So all the changes on a technology, on those landscape, on a video, visual formats, is manifesting in a marketing-friendly mechanism, measurable, monitored in Indonesia, as on today.
Already happening.
Already happening. And many of our clients, in a group M I can especially talk about, these things are something that is happening. It is no longer about future. The Ronald's ability to say happy birthday to his retailers in India or Philippines is a possibility. I can serve him tomorrow, if you wish to.
Is that a sell? Is that a pitch?
It's just a possibility.
Thank you. So, Pa Ronald, you're the brand owner. So many different outlets, so many different changes. What are your priorities? How do you go through the 101 different offerings that agencies provide you, media provides you, KOLs provide you? You must be receiving thousands of pitches every month. How do you prioritize them?
The most important is for us is to understand. We need to understand our consumers, because right now consumers can be grouped in so many different ways. So psychographic and psychographic understanding of the consumers is very important, so that it can help us to identify our sets of consumers, and then we can really deep dive into their day-to-day life and see how these different mediums plays a part, and which has the most effective affinity with them. So I think for us like brand owners, it's important to understand. The first thing is to understand from the consumers. Then we follow up with, okay, if I choose medium A and B, for example, then how we can maximize, what are the parameters that we can play with. So, and then after that, normally then we'll either that or we'll go to the creative agency and we'll try to create a magical moment together with the consumers. And because, to get that, we call it, to get that attention hook, I think that's the most challenging parts. And is, and sometimes is not just a repeating process, but once it's done, maybe you need a different way to do it again. It's not always just a copy and paste action. So so for us, medium is all back to the consumer, how as a consumer and us especially also as the category can make an impact together, because not always the case that every medium is a perfect fit for every category.
Thank you. Final question, given that your point was consumer first in that sense, right? So whatever the medium, whatever is being sold to you, whatever is being pitched, it's whichever consumer you're targeting first and what they're going to experience with whatever proposition is being offered. In Indonesia, that medium is often still television, right? Television still controls extremely significant chunk of advertising spending, almost 40% of the Indonesian advertising spend. And it is about to undergo a very significant infrastructure shift, which will have multiplier effects. So unfortunately, it's a bit technical, but given that we do have Pa Himanshu here, who has also been exposed to TV mediums in multiple countries that have faced this, the analog switch off that's going to happen in free-to-air to become digital free-to-air in this coming November, with its influx of new players, influx of new options, influx of different technologies. How do you view this change will impact the advertising agencies, the advertising market, the spending in the media industry?
Thank you. This is topical, very challenging for everybody, government onwards. I'll try and put this in a two frame. One, I call it the access. People's ability to still watch television. And the second is the measurement. The marketing industry is more concerned on the measurement and access. But before that I do, let me lay down the basic context on a television. In Indonesia, virtually everybody has a TV at home, and they watch about 4-hour plus television every day. One of the highest in the world. And TV is free. They don't have to pay anything to watch those channels. One of the last country in the world where TV is fully free. We are now moving, as ASO, is to say, move away from these antennas to digital downloads. It will require different type of TV sets which can access. It will also require an access mechanism called a set-top box. So going forward, when ASO is fully implemented, you will have to have a box at home to watch TV. Now, box at home, you need to have the box available in the market. I think everybody is working very hard to get those boxes available in the marketplace. And currently, the stakeholders, which I'll say the government, the broadcasters, and the marketing community, which is about the clients, agency, the measurement agency, the research agencies, all of us are part of the ecosystem. All of us are in constant dialogue with each other to say what can happen and what is the best way to mitigate them. My personal hypothesis is basis having seen this in many countries. This is not the first time. We have seen this happening in the Southeast Asia market, Malaysia, Thailand, Vietnam, India, all of them have gone through similar stuff. So we do have a precedence of how new world look like. And basis that, my personal view is that on an access, people will find a way to watch TV. 4 hours of entertainment free of cost is very important. People cannot give that up. So whenever this happens, boxes in some form or another, there will be mechanism to find it, supported by the government or enabled by the broadcasting industry. So access to me is a lesser of a worry. People will be able to watch TV. However, we will have a big problem because we trade on data. That data is going to be non-comparable from the past. Because current data is for X number of household and X number of people. New data will have a very different type of household, very different type of individuals. We cannot assume that the new household will have the same behavior as the old households. So clearly, measurement is a huge disruption. Now, measurement disruption is a problem at many fronts. Because as a media planner, we plan basis the data. So we say in a month of November, I want to reach X number of people so many times. What we call say 4 plus 55 or 6 plus 40 or likes of that. Because of the rating change, we don't know that will be delivered. Second part is we trade on that data. If the data is non-comparable, then how do you make a base for trading? So both planning and buying from a marketing industry perspective is going to be a challenge. And it requires an industry resolution. Now, if we don't resolve this, what will happen? Our experiences from the other markets says that in the transition, two things happen. One, rating becomes volatile. So imagine MNC or RCTI or MTech or Trans rating today is something. Tomorrow it may go like a yo-yo. 1 week very high, 1 week very low. That volatility is because of the panel change. Second part is, in the new world, there are going to be more TV stations. Today we have a fewer number of TV stations. Tomorrow we are going to have at least 60, 70 TV stations, nationally distributed. So people will have a choice. If there's a choice, ratings of the existing program should decline. So volatility and rating decline are two phenomena that we're likely to see in a transition period. And this, coupled with the data not being comparable from the past, is a volatile issue. So there are options. Everybody is working. Measurement agency is working really hard to find a solution, offer a new base for measurement. Still, there are unanswered questions on what happens. So in summary, ASO is a good thing, must happen. It has lots of benefit for everybody. It frees up a spectrum for the government. It gives more number of TV stations, so opportunity for broadcaster, opportunity for content creators, opportunity for stars, opportunity for marketers because more targeted channels can happen. So it's an opportunity at many, many levels. We just have a temporary, transitory challenge of measurement, and that we need to find a resolution of moving into a new measurement mechanism in a more graded manner, more measured manner, so that the consequences are not unfair to anyone.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I think that answer was primarily for me and Pat Ronald. But thank you so much, everyone. Due to time constraints, allow me to provide the summary for our panel just now before we move on to our Q&A. Extremely difficult to summarize, granted. I think there are so many key takeaways that we can get from this. I think a few fundamental ones. The first is only constant is change. And that change, that framework is something that we are all adapting to. However, philosophically, storytelling is still storytelling. What moves humans, what moves emotions remain the same. It is just a matter of how, where, and when you are able to translate that story in multiple mediums. Which goes to a fundamental point that by Ronald was critical in emphasizing, that the core of our storytelling, the core of all these technological changes is the consumer. However, we're deep into the numbers and so on and so forth, it's still the consumers that are the numbers, the consumers that are consuming all of our content and digesting it through multiple platforms. Now, I think many people view storytelling as an art, but in reality, it's also an extremely technical field that has been played in. Hence, Himanshu's recent explanation as well. This goes down to data. This goes down to usable data that advertisers can digest because that's how we're able to best serve the audience, right? And so I think it's an exciting panel. Thank you all so much. Before we go into our questions from the floor, allow us to show the results of the poll that we did originally. Who here does live stream and who here does on demand primarily? Today, the majority of people do on demand at, 71%, and the remaining 29% does live stream. Thank you so much. I don't know what that says about our audience base. It's pretty higher end audience base here, I think, right? I don't think the majority of you maybe watches TV for 4 hours a day. So different relevance, but still an investment platform. So let's go to the questions from the floor. I'm gonna do some simultaneous translation. Digitalisasi merambah. Digitalization has that's been answered. Perusahaan yang hebat dengan produk barang dan jasa yang hebat tidak akan dikenal dan promosi akan percuma jika tidak. Udah ya, Bu? Mau ya, Bu? Okay. Let's go to the next one though. I think we've really touched on that already. Bisa ke nomor 5? Ke bawahnya, di bawah, can bring great positive. Okay, so this is an interesting one. I think this is something that we can all answer. We've contributed to this conversation in each of our own ways, either as KOLs, media buying agencies, creative agencies, and whatnot. The results of, bisa naik dari atas, saya baca dari atas, depannya. Makasih. From Lee Harin, in the context of our youngest generation, Generation Alpha, who are endowed with these digital advancements discussed today, this evolution can be a double-edged sword. Outside of being a great positive impact, there might be some negative impacts. Research has shown that too much attachment to social media to this extent can lead to depression, anxiety, socially impaired addiction, and drawbacks. My question is, how can we as the predecessor, as managers of these platforms and contents, respond to this issue? Is there any effective way to engage them to the digital world more without risking their development? Perhaps it's a question that we can both respond to philosophically about how you view this trend and also what can be done about it.
I think this is a very important challenge. And I'm a parent. I have two sons, one 15 and second is 8. I personally see this, how they engage with the social media. It worries me. But I think as an industry, there's an attempt to mitigate this effect. That's why on Apple you have something like screen time. You are provided a measure of who is watching what, how much time, and you can control them. Similarly, a lot of these Wi-Fi boxes today provide parental control. I have a box called Deco. That Deco gives me amazing amount of access on managing the access for my kids on a portions. So from a hardware and a software provider perspective, these media's access control isn't a measure. People are taking over toward excessive use of these platforms. However, from a content creator perspective, also there's an attempt at many levels to create a content which will also impact them positively. And not just entertaining, but also educational at many levels. So this is a real issue. Many of us who are old and seeing our new generation in front of us indulging in this feel worried. And in my mind, there are solutions, and it will keep on evolving because any risk has to be mitigated.
Bu Mary, perhaps this is something that you can respond to.
Since it's already answered, I will try to answer the other questions.
Dari
because
atas.
there's a lot of questions.
Mau dari atas?
It's up to you. There are.
Next, study.
First one also can, yeah. Because
Okay.
the answer is already great.
So the answer is follow Bu Mary Riana's content because it's inspiring and you won't be depressed from it, nor have anxiety.
Yeah.
Although if you don't have $1 million by 26-year-old, what really are you doing?
Okay, okay, I can answer this if you want.
Oh.
Okay, so soalnya kan ini ditanya karena banyak sosial media, terus anak-anak itu biasanya mereka jadi lead to depression, anxiety, jadi butuh healing, addiction. Gitu. Sekarang pertanyaannya, how we can actually avoid all these things, depression, anxiety. Well, I think itu balik lagi to our own individual sih, karena at the end of the day, we can see the technology is accelerate so fast, but does our mindset mentally also accelerate? Do we have filter to all these things? Karena all this social media is created supaya kita nggak berhenti. Makanya it's just scroll. Do you notice like all the feeds, whether it's in TikTok or it's in Instagram, right? It will just never end. You just keep rolling and rolling and rolling. It just never ends because it's created that way to hook you. Okay, it's created that way. Okay, and that's not their fault, but we are the one who should put a pause and stop as and when we feel that we need to stop. Okay, so it's not on them, it's on us. Okay, and remember this, as you go through your cell phone right now, I can see all of you actually have your own cell phone. I want to give you different perspective of cell phone. Cell phone is not cellular phone, but you know cell. You know the cell? You know what is cell? It's like in a jail, there's a cell, right? So a lot of people nowadays, without you realizing it, you are in the cell phone. You all actually like in the jail, in the prison, inside of you because, you know, you just stuck there. And without you knowing it, you are stuck in that cell phone. You are not going out. Your mind is there. Even you already stop it. The things that you consume is still, you play it over and over in your brain. And sometimes it eats your happiness and a lot of things. So remember when you hold your cell phone, remember don't be inside that prison. You should be the one who is the master of this phone. It's not he's the one who mastered you. So I hope you remember that and give you next perceptions. Thank you.
Thank you. Bisa ke pertanyaan pertama lagi?
Huh? Okay, it's all right.
So, namun tidak semua orang dan manusia siap melalui transformasi digital. So not as disruption, digitalization has disrupted multiple levels of business, from small, medium, micro to large scale enterprises. Not everyone and not all companies are able to execute or go through digital transformation. What then should be done? Perhaps Bu Mary can start with us.
Thank you. That's exactly why me and my partner David Chokro Raharjo, we built MDco, Venture Builder. And our focus is exactly that UKM. You know what is UKM? Singkatan dari UKM apa?
Usaha kecil.
Usaha kecil menengah. Okay, that's what a lot of people say. But to me, UKM is usaha keren miliaran. Okay. Kenapa? Because what they did is amazing gitu. Maksudnya mereka bisa bikin produk, barang-barang yang bagus, batik, kerajinan, makanan. And if they do it correctly, actually can get millions of dollars. It can actually move the economy. Now, the most important thing yang kita cari sebenarnya di MDco yang kita fokuskan itu UKM. Sebenarnya bukan a tech company. We don't go for a tech company. Of course, there are a few small percentage of tech company in our portfolio, but most of it is not tech company. But we are using tech to enable, so it's a tech-enabled company. Dan ketika bilang transformasi digital itu nggak harus kayak wah keren banget harus punya aplikasi complicated. No, as simple as karena UKM ini sebenarnya mereka punya produk bagus, tapi the structure sometimes is not there. Ketika mereka melakukan pembayaran, is still manual. Ketika mereka melakukan inventory, is still manual. So by using technology to help them, sekarang pembayarannya pakai QR deh, pakai teknologi deh. As simple as that, kasir. Sekarang kasir ada banyak kasir teknologi, installed it. But if they know how to use it, even by doing so, they can actually use the data. They can actually minimize human error. They can actually do a lot of, use it, you know, to scale later and to make some strategize out of it. Gitu. So when I mention about transformasi digital, nggak perlu yang luar biasa, yang simple aja. And that's how me together, like I said, in the MDco, itu yang kita lakukan. Three framework from structure, strategy, and scale. Karena UKM ini mereka harus dibikin structure-nya yang rapi dulu, yang bagus dulu, punya PT enggak, customer-nya siapa, gimana cara pemasaran inventory-nya seperti apa, and we use technology to help them. Baru dari situ kita bisa melakukan strategi-strategi yang lebih terstruktur, karena kan resources-nya terbatas, okay? So when using the resources, you can actually do the strategy. Baru ketika semuanya beres, mereka bisa scale, and then makanya mereka bisa scale to the next steps, and how they can build from $1 million revenue, and then become trillions, and hopefully become one of the unicorn in Indonesia. Okay? Jadi itu sih, nggak perlu muluk-muluk, yang simple aja dulu. Hopefully
Usaha keren
miliaran.
miliaran. Mantap.
Thank you.
Thank you. Would anyone else like to answer this question about digital transformation within your own organizations? No? Shall we then? It looks like time is up. Thank you everyone so much for your time once again. To Pak Ronald Atmaja, Pak Himanshu Shekhar, Bu Riana, and Pak Hady Wibowo. Can we take a group selfie? Selfie dulu, Bu. Bareng sama semua orang. Alright. Mau HP-nya Ibu gak?
Baik Bapak Ibu, kita berikan tepuk tangan yang paling meriah sekali lagi untuk sesi yang begitu luar biasa. Sesi diskusi kali ini, dan kami mohon untuk tetap di tempat Bapak Ibu, karena akan ada penyerahan cindera mata. Oke, silakan. Selfie dulu ya, wifi ya. Mungkin teman-teman bisa berdiri. Silakan Bapak Ibu, rekan-rekan hadirin yang sudah hadir di JCC. Kita berdiri terlebih dahulu. Kita abadikan momen kita wifi bersama. Oke, Kak Mary paling depan ya. Oke, sudah siap semua di belakang mau foto? Oke, terima kasih. Kami mohon tetap di tempat terlebih dahulu, dan kami meminta Pak Antoni kesediaannya untuk menyerahkan memento atau cindera mata kepada panelis kita dan juga moderator. Kita iringi dengan tepuk tangan yang meriah Bapak Ibu. Ini adalah sesi Breakout terakhir kita untuk rangkaian acara BNI Investor Daily Summit 2022 hari pertama. Kak Mary dan tepuk tangan boleh kenceng lagi ya. Fansnya banyak Kak Mary. Baik. Berikutnya juga diserahkan untuk narasumber kita. Kita ingin tepuk tangan juga Bapak Ibu, rekan-rekan semuanya. And the last one, kita juga berikan cindera mata sebagai bentuk terima kasih. Sungguh luar biasa, sangat spesial. Very, very insightful discussion today. Let's we take a photo together on this historical moment. Alright, baiklah Bapak Ibu. Kita berfoto terlebih dahulu. Berikan senyum terindah. Give your best smile. 1, 2, 3. Baik, thank you so much to all the respectable speakers, all the panelists, and the moderator. You may return to your seat. Thank you so much. Silakan kembali ke tempat Bapak Ibu, terima kasih banyak. Tepuk tangannya nggak boleh ragu-ragu loh ya. Ini dia baru semangat. Gimana, keren banget ya sesinya ya? Keren, besok mau hadir lagi? Iya, oke, ditunggu ya. Karena ini hari pertama, besok masih akan ada rangkaian untuk sesi hari kedua. Tentunya di BNI Investor Daily Summit 2022. Namun sebelumnya saya juga sekali lagi ingin mengucapkan terima kasih banyak untuk seluruh sponsor yang telah mendukung rangkaian acara kita. Terima kasih kepada Bank Negara Indonesia, Telkom Indonesia, Telkomsel, Sritex, PLN, Siloam Hospital, Pupuk Indonesia, Eria, Intibios, Darya Varia, dan juga seluruh pihak serta stakeholders yang terlibat. Dan akhirnya Bapak Ibu, demikian sesi breakout tadi menutup rangkaian acara kita pada pagi hingga sore menjelang malam hari ini. Dan tentunya sekali lagi terima kasih atas seluruh kehadiran para moderator, tamu undangan. Sukses selalu, sehat selalu untuk kita semua, sukses untuk Indonesia, untuk Berita Satu juga tentunya terima kasih banyak semuanya. B-Univers ya sekarang namanya, mohon maaf Bapak, punten ya. B-Univers, sekali lagi tepuk tangan untuk kita dong, sekali lagi sukses Investor Daily Summit 2022. Sampai jumpa esok hari di hari kedua.